Hello and welcome everybody to the Vue Player Weekly Q&A webinar session. Uh, can anybody who's on the call just confirm that both audio and video connection are working before we get started? Just trying to get a confirmation that audio and video are working, but I don't think I started the session actually. No, I see that the session is started. Once again, welcome everybody to the Vue Player Weekly Q&A webinar. We're just trying to get a confirmation that audio and video are working as expected before we get started. Can anybody who's on the call, there we go. Hello, Alex. Finally got a confirmation that we can hear and see my screen, so that's good. All right, excellent. Other people might have been dozed off or not paying attention, but all right, hopefully they'll join in later. So once more, this is Vue Players Q&A weekly webinar session. I am Peter, Vue Players Product Manager, and we're holding these sessions in order to answer any questions that you as users may have regarding Vue Player, also to answer and provide any training on advanced use cases of video in your business or advanced Vue Player features. Also to showcase new stuff that we've been working on, as well as to generate ideas, discuss opinions, and potential opportunities for additional value adds through any suggestions for improvements, feature requests, and so on that you may have. Just a general free-for-all on the ideas and brainstorming during the webinar, not only for Vue Player, but also for utilization of video in your business in general. All right, cool. With that in mind, this is a weekly webinar, so weekly replays, if you're unable to attend any of these, are available both on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/Vue Player. There's that link in the chat box, as well as on our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Vue Player. And those are great resources to subscribe and join to, as that'll definitely help you stay up to date with everything that's being released and exchange opinions and see how other people are using Vue Player and all that fun stuff. And an additional resource that I would just like to share is our knowledge base, which is docs.vueplayer.com. And they're particularly good for anybody who's just getting started with Vue Player is our getting started section, and there's a lot of good information in there on how you can create your first video, how you can add features to it, and how you can publish it on any Vue Player platform. So those are good resources to have. And one more that I would like to identify as a good tool to keep you updated. If at any time that you're using an application, you want to know what's new, or you have an idea of your own that you would like to share, you can click on submit and vote on ideas over here by clicking on documentation and support first. And that will take you to our product portal or product board, where you can see stuff that we're currently working on, stuff that's being considered, integration requests submitted by other, and features requested by other Vue Player users, and then other users still, as well as you get an opportunity to vote on them. And as I mentioned, you get an opportunity also to submit your own idea, indicate how important it is to you, and then we can bring it in front of other Vue Player users and they can vote on it as well. And that really helps us develop momentum behind those ideas and prioritize and roadmap them accordingly. I forgot to mention. So the format of the webinar is pretty straightforward. So at any time that you have a question that you would like us to discuss, you can just drop it in the chat box over here, as Alex just did. Or if you came prepared with any questions, now would be a good time to place them in there. However, if you have some questions remaining still after the webinar is finished, we're always available in the application via both our live chat, or you can submit a detailed report issue ticket by coming over here and clicking on Where's contact support? There it is. Clicking on contact support. That'll give you an option to open up a detailed ticket and track it and all that fun stuff. All right, good. I think that's all the housekeeping notes. I jumbled around some of them. Hopefully that wasn't too distracting. I see a lot of familiar faces on the webinar, so I'm pretty sure that all of you guys know all of that jazz. Alex, let me just get the questions up on the screen as well so we can keep track of them. Actually, before we get to question, I just wanted to highlight just an update. So, as I did mention, we did get in the docs. I think we even did that on the previous week. We had the 4.2 beta release notes where what? Wait, now give me a second. Wait. Just 1 second. There is an update there, but it's not showing because I think I saved it as a draft. Updates to the new VU player version 4.2. And yeah, I saved this article as a draft. Give me just 1 second. Yep, and that should go to 4.2 beta release notes. So sorry about this. And close. There we go. 4.2.1 beta release notes. So pop-ups are now available, and there's been some fixes to issues which were noticed. So if you are curious and if you are participating in that beta release program, do take a look at it and let us know what your feedback is on pop-ups, which are now available in VU Player. All right, cool. Now we can get to questions. I have some videos on my account. Question from Alex. I have some videos on my account that might have to switch to a sub account. Okay, once I upgrade to Enterprise. Two questions about that. One, can I take any advantage of the Pro account I bought once I upgrade to Enterprise? Two, you already told me you could move the videos manually. Will the stats be kept or reset to 0 once you move the videos to the new sub account? I mean, I'm not a bit of a confusion there is. So I have some videos on my account that might have to be switched to a sub account once I upgrade to Enterprise. So you wanna upgrade to Enterprise, and then once you upgrade to Enterprise, after that you want to get a sub account license, and you want to move the videos from the main account to that sub account license. All right, yeah, that makes sense. Off the top of my head, I don't see anything wrong with that. And I don't see any reason for why the analytics would be reset unless you wanted them to, while we're already kind of messing with all of this stuff manually. So what would basically have to happen for that is we would have to just go into the database and say, hey, all of these videos which belong to Alex's account, just change the ID on them for them to belong to the Alex's sub account. And that's all that it would take for the video sort of to be transferred over. Well, actually, now that I think about it, well, it is a sub account. So I guess what I was going to say is those videos would in fact still counts depending on how many videos it is and if they're uploaded or not. That might run into some weird storage limitation scenarios, but it's definitely feasible and doable. So for example, if they're all hybrid hosted videos, like videos hosted on YouTube or something like that, or if it's a small amount of videos like that, it shouldn't be an issue. But if I think by default the sub accounts are limited to 10 gigabytes of storage space that they get, and then if you go over that, then it becomes more confusing because then you have to have resource allocation sharing between your account and the sub account, and but those are your videos which were stored by your uploads, and that would just get messy. But if it's a simple amount, and I don't foresee any issues with that. Once you get around to upgrading and getting that sub account, just email us with the details around everything that needs to be done, and we can come up with an actual plan of execution on that. Good to hear that there's a uh, growing need for expanding uh, client-related distributing the videos to a client. What could also be an option in that scenario is that you could duplicate the videos as well, so that they you have them on your account and they also exist on the client's account as well. That can also be an option. So you can just duplicate. Yeah, user roles is something that we've talked about previously, and it's not something that hits our radar too often. I think it's even on our product board, something around like it's called something like team access or something like that. I don't need this. Why did this turn on? Yes, we need user roles. I just wanted to note that feedback really quickly, because that's one thing I think that can make management of Wool Player a lot easier. User roles and tiered permission settings. Yes, it is team management. Yeah, yeah. Every now and then it's brought up. Still have we? I don't know. Haven't felt the pressure and the fire burning underneath us on that, which is kind of why we've been putting it off. But it does need to be executed. If it does execute, it needs to be executed right, as Clark Cotton points out. It's not just about team access; it's also about assigning different permissions to different roles and so on. First things first, keep improving player performance. Yeah, focus solely is currently on player performance. Right, you are on that. All right. Do we have any other questions from anybody else who's on the call? Humble player rocks. Sure it does. Why wouldn't it rock? We're a bunch of cool rocky dudes. What about a new pop-ups tour? Yeah, sure. So yeah, while we're waiting, if nobody has any questions, we can take a look at the what's different around new pop-ups. So as I mentioned previously, so if we take a look at the regular current Wool Player pop-up, the way that it worked is, so let me just get some realistic environment in which we can embed this. We can do this. We can embed on here. So if we take a look at the regular pop-up as is currently, you have an option of using it as a link. So sort of it just being a link, or you can have it as an image. And those were the only two options, and I probably shouldn't have done that because that's gonna just go through all of my images. Sheesh. But it'll be done soon. So you can have either a pop-up or a thumbnail. So for example, I can use this thumbnail, and then when I generate this is the old pop-up, just so we're clear on that. And when you embed it, it just looks like a regular thumbnail image, and there's no way for anybody to. Well, I guess what somebody could do is, and I've seen a lot of people doing that, is they can use this email preview, so a thumbnail with a play button and sort of a GIF playing. So if I come over here to create a new page, to add a new page, and we just embed this baby in here and publish that and view the page. So this is what the pop-up in the best case scenario looked like right now. So you just had that preview image and that's all there was to it. Now, the big problem with this, aside just from appearance, is the execution of everything, primarily because there's no video element on here. The video element comes up only when you click on that. That's when everything actually starts rendering in real time. And the issue with that is that the click on here is not the same as the click on this video button. Which is problematic because you can have interactions such as, hey, as soon as somebody clicks on here, the video here initially starts loading and playing, and you can communicate between those two easily and propagate permissions. Due to autoplay restrictions from browsers, that's something that is made rather difficult by this approach. So our main shift in the new pop-ups is to actually, so let me get to that. So I'll come over here to the embed and I'll turn on the beta for 4.2 and I'll come back to the pop-ups. And we'll at one point in the future, we'll get back to making the sort of styling capabilities real again. But what the bottom line is that when you grab this, and when you replace it with this, and when we update the page, we're no longer going to get a simple link or a image, a preview image. What we're going to get is the actual player. So there it is, and that's, I mean, as I mentioned, the styling and the sizing and all of that can be added later. But what we're seeing right now is not simply a preview image. This is the actual video player. So, and it works in such a way that clicking on it immediately just zooms it out and starts playing it. And granted, as I mentioned, we need to work on sizing a little bit and so on, but that automatically increases it and decreases it back to its original position. Now we'll add some fancy animations on it opening and closing, but it is the actual video player that's over here on preview, as you can see. So I can even hover over the pop-up as it's being closed. So basically we have a player which pops in and out of the page based on the play or exit. You can see when I exit the pop-up, you can see the pause animation over here in the player. So that's the main sort of approach change that we've made to pop-ups, which we think is going to both greatly impact our capability to start the video immediately and communicate between the pop-up and the page, as well as gonna drive some both faster, better performance, as well as, granted it doesn't look like that, some smoother interactions because we can add some nicer animations and size this a little bit better so it looks nice. Well, actually, if we can do this right now like this maybe, so I think this is maybe a little bit more pleasant of an experience to watch. So that's the main and the biggest difference. Of course, all of it still is very much open to feedback on how it works and why it might work better this way or not. So we're definitely looking forward to anybody testing that out and letting us know how it performs. All right, that's that much for the tour itself. The rest of it is really up to you guys taking it apart and providing further input on how we can improve it. Clark Cotton is saying the industry is moving towards a pre-roll and mid-roll smaller videos, sometimes only 7 to 15 seconds. Music video brand sponsors are being coached by teams in media to move ad spend to this space. If you properly host in two places for security, you can move videos to client front page of their website and establish cross links on social. Wool Player is the reason this can happen. An artist is not losing his YouTube view for that revenue and still pushing folks back to the sponsored website too. So let me just make sure that I got this straight. So we got the pre-roll and the mid-roll. Smaller videos, only 7 to 15 video brand sponsors are being coached by teams in media to move ad spend to this space. If you properly host in two places for security, you can move videos to client front page. Yeah, that makes sense. So you can embed them on their front page of their website and establish cross links on social. So Wool Player is the reason this can happen, and so the artists are not losing their YouTube view, so that revenue is still pushing folks back to the sponsors too. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I was just thinking there was a question somewhere within that, but I guess that's just the elaboration of the Wool Player Rocks comment. It's awesome. Yeah, definitely glad. I mean, there's a lot of different use cases that Wool Player can help you accomplish, some of which probably we even still haven't thought about yet, but our goal behind building Wool Player is building something really modular, everything from custom webhooks to interesting ways that CRM tags can be triggered on any video events and different data that's being tracked and so on and so on. So there's some really advanced stuff that can be leveraged if you really want to take it apart. Alex is saying YouTube views. If you mean embedding with Wool Player, you can actually lose the YouTube views, right? You can, and you can. You may. It depends on what you want. You can set it up in such a way that YouTube views will count, and you can set it up in such a way that YouTube views will not count. So that's also one of the advantages. Granted that you would have to be the owner of the YouTube video content. How do you do that? So YouTube views will count for Wool Player embeds, which show the related. So if you click on a YouTube video inside of Wool Player that has related videos and it has the YouTube logo and the channel branding, then your view will count in YouTube as well. So hopefully that's. Let me just grab something appropriate from YouTube logo from the docs, so YouTube logo regulations. So these are the regulations for taking the logo off. So basically you would want to do anything different than what this is stipulating. So for example, if your content is marked as copyrighted, then it's bound to be served through that. Yeah, logo turn off. Yeah, that's it. So if the logo is turned on, then the views on YouTube will count. All right, do we have any other questions? Has anyone suggested a folder structure for organizing videos in the main dashboard? The current flat file format isn't as user-friendly as the list gets longer. +1 on Steven. Yeah, this actually is something that we've heard in the past. So this is definitely something that we've considered. So let me just make sure I note that. All right. 1 second. All right, I got it. Yeah, this is something that we've heard about in different, from organizing to including tags to including some sort of like a tree folding structure and so on and so on. Yeah, we've received feedback like this numerous times for advanced use cases where people have thousands of videos. So that's definitely something that's on our radar and that we need to consider. Keep mentioning it. I'm sure that once we get to reworking the dashboard and all of that feedback is going to start kicking in. So I just noted it for you, Stephen, on within our product board, sort of as if you suggested it in the product board. So we'll get that up on there as well, so we don't forget about it once there's a time to rework the dashboard. All right. Yep. Alex is saying I just try to pop up on my test page. It does this weird thing with framing. Yeah, I just noticed that as well when I was testing it. So do continue bringing us that feedback through our support channel, as we're definitely not going to be able to troubleshoot it on the webinar call. We're not like doing that. Great call, nice update, good feedback, excellent. Glad you guys enjoyed it. If you have any additional questions in the meantime, as mentioned, we are available via support@woolplayer.com, and hope to see you next week as well. Thank you. Bye.